Hello, everybody. Welcome to the session on Davos Cyber Future Dialogue 2024. My name is Lingaraj Patil, Executive Chair at the Purple Book Community. I am thrilled to host today Pratik Savla, who is Chief of Staff, Enterprise Security and Compliance at Synaptics. Pratik, welcome.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you for having me.
All right. Yeah. So, Pratik, I know you and I have worked very closely in the Purple Book community over several years. You have contributed a lot to the software security maturity model. You are an expert in that field. Can you give a bit of your background for the benefit of our audience?
Sure, Raj. So I've been in the industry for a decade and a half already. I've worked largely in the private sector. I've dealt with security, compliance, and privacy. Typically, my role has been at the intersection of that, and my kind of focus areas have been at this point. Generally, they lie at the intersection of security, cybersecurity, data privacy, technology risk management, and regulatory compliance.
All right.
So
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. All right.
thank
Yeah.
you.
So now, if we can talk about 2023 went by, right? So, are there anything that stand out in your mind from the year 2023?
Sure. There were a number of patterns that I saw kind of emerging, like as the year progressed. So to start with ransomware, something that has come up a lot in the news. I saw that kept, let's say, that continued to plague organizations. This was across various sectors, with the attackers becoming way more sophisticated. It actually continued to evolve, with double extortion becoming even more common.
Hmm.
Because in this case, in addition to encrypting files, the attackers were also threatening the organizations that they would leak any stolen data if the ransom was not paid. And so it was kind of a double whammy for organizations. So I saw that, what became very critical was offline backups, educating the various users of the company, and also the whole planning when it came to incident response. Those were the three main areas that became very, very critical in terms of dealing with any such ransomware attacks. So that was definitely one trend that I saw emerging. Another piece was around supply chain attacks. They increased as the threat actors actually compromised third parties to access their customers. So there was this chain that was becoming very much like emerging and apparent. As one entity fell, the others were also found to be compromised, and then their relationships also were impacted. They definitely increased a lot more. I saw kind of like also the need there when it came to onboarding suppliers. The whole vetting process had to be strengthened. Um, the whole principle of least privilege that companies talk about, or at times you see security leaders bringing up, that became also ever critical, because you want to minimize access. You're obviously, once it's found, that's already too late. You want to make sure that you're practicing the whole access approach, in a very minimal fashion. And also, like, the whole monitoring for any anomalies. There were definitely signs in each of these incidents that were seen. Like if someone had picked up those signs early on, things could have been different. It wouldn't have led to a complete breach or a disaster that it ended up happening. So monitoring for those anomalies also became very key. And that's key. For anyone and any organization, anyone dealing with anything. So these are the things that are very important when it comes to the whole supply chain issue. A third trend that I saw was pertaining to cloud security. That obviously gaining more focus because the whole adoption of cloud was getting accelerated. COVID, of course, was the main sort of disruptor, and that shifted a lot of companies into moving that direction. That kind of momentum has continued.
Yeah.
Of course, with, sort of less, what do you call, like expedited cloud deployments, or this whole pressure and push. You see misconfigurations and access controls, also poor access controls, then that's starting to plague the whole deployments. And sometimes they are found much later. Or sometimes they are only seen when an incident happens. And and the likely cause is some misconfiguration, or someone that's not supposed to have access ends up getting the access. So getting that kind of visibility, getting that understanding, getting the understanding of the security posture of the cloud infrastructure is very key. This is where a CSPM tool, a cloud security posture management tool, any tool that falls in that gives you that comprehensive visibility and security posture understanding is very, very key.
All right. Okay.
Yep.
Very good. And so the other thing that so those were some of the big observations that you had, right? So looking at now the trends that you see in 2024, right? So what are the top three trends that you think will happen in 2024?
The very first one that comes to mind, and this is something that a lot of people are already talking about, and we've seen a lot, is around AI and machine learning. So
Mhm.
leveraging AI and machine learning for things like, let's say, detecting threats, for incident response, for preventing fraud. I mean, those are some of the main use cases where, at least in our industry, in the security industry, AI can be easily leveraged for those things. AI also has the potential to help identify a lot of anomalies, any
Mm.
kind of suspicious signs. It can actually pick up and detect and alert on. It can also accelerate the whole analysis of reams and reams of data. I mean, organizations are obviously getting data from various sources and analyzing all that. I mean, like for a human or even for a team, I mean, is not easy. So AI definitely can play a good role here in terms of accelerating the analysis of that. So that's one trend, that I clearly see, progressing even further. The
Mhm.
other piece is adoption of zero trust architecture. I see more of that also playing out in order to improve the security of the whole distributed workforce and the cloud environment. Because the
Mhm.
cloud, now we are moving towards the cloud a lot more. So the whole adoption of zero trust is also going to actually play out a lot more. Obviously, that would mean that certain zero trust principles, which are at the core of it, like least privilege access, micro segmentation, or even continuous verification, constant checking, they likely will become more and more mainstream. Like at least those who claim to religiously like adopt it. So, and another piece that I think in terms of progression for this year would be like the whole push for better software assurance, transparency, and even vulnerability responsible disclosure practices across the industry. Vulnerabilities are not going to go away. You're constantly going to come across one thing or the other, literally almost on a daily basis. And there's even stuff that's not disclosed. That's going to pan out and come out in terms of incidents and all. So having proper disclosure practices and also having those relationships across the board with various stakeholders is very, very key. And I see that getting pushed a lot more this year.
All right. Okay. Very good. That's very interesting, and that's one of the things that we talked about in the Purple Book community also, right?
Yeah.
How to handle the vulnerabilities.
Mhm.
Uh, so so
Exactly.
do you so you are now through vulnerability disclosure, you are saying the companies that have those vulnerabilities will be required to disclose it in various uh, forums, right? Maybe
Correct.
internally, customers, public,
Mhm.
and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
now, if you were to give a call to action for the community, what would be that call to action?
So I would say, to the general community, let's say to the Cyber Future Foundation community or across the board to anyone, the future of a secure and resilient digital world, it's the world that we live in now. Like it's our digital world. That's in our hands. So, in 2024, I would suggest, or I would strongly recommend that we should continue collaborating to make this whole cyber ecosystem safer, and
Yeah.
that can be achieved through various means. Education is one, innovation is another, having good leadership that cares and really, is serious about it, is key as well. In terms of threat landscape and threats and challenges, there's going to be no end to it. There will always be new threats and challenges. We literally see things come up on a daily basis with incidents happening here and there, and then that inflating to other things. So obviously the key is, working together so that we can all transform these things, these challenges into opportunities. That's the mindset that is really needed to make sure that those challenges are actually seen as opportunities. Something that can be, let's say, someone can learn a lesson from and improve things and better themselves and all. Our mission matters now more than ever. So I would say, please keep learning, please keep creating, please keep making a positive impact. Because the generations that are coming, later on, they are obviously going to count on us.
Yeah.
The key thing is to stay motivated, to, I mean, be very forward thinking and also to lead the change.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that would be my message to the
All
community.
right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Pratik. I've enjoyed working with you 2023. I'm hoping 2024 we can take it to another level of collaboration. So appreciate your
Definitely.
input into this.
Yeah. Thank you, Raj. Thank you so much. Likewise. Yeah. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.